So everybody, welcome back to Kingdom Living. This is Brandon. He is just the most amazing person that I've seen in a while on social media. I actually found him on Facebook. He actually found me. He reached out to me when I was having a difficult time and made a little video and just made my day. He actually sent me a quote that said, "Sometimes you find yourself in the middle of nowhere, and sometimes in the middle of nowhere you find yourself." And Brandon, like just the fact that you would take the time to reach out to a stranger, I was like, I got to get this guy on here.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, so guys, one of the things that I love about Brandon is he literally speaks videos, motivational videos into your life pretty much every day. It looks like, Brandon, you're always on.
I try to.
I love it. I just love it. And you don't get paid to do that. So that's incredible. And one of the things that he does is he always says his 3 blessings. So go ahead, Brandon. What are your 3 blessings today?
So first and foremost, I'm just thankful to be alive. I'm thankful to be clean and sober. And I'm thankful to have friends and family that support me. And I'm going to go with 4. And then I'm thankful just to be healthy too. So those are my...
That. Yeah, I've been seeing your fitness journey. That's amazing. So
Thank you.
Yeah, you got to take bad habits and replace them with some good habits. So that's awesome.
You have to. They say an idle mind is a devil's playground. So, you got to, like, once you get all that old out of there, you got to replace it with the new. That's very important.
I agree. So, sweetheart, just walk me through. Like, I know we discussed this last time, but for all the people that don't know you, like, one of the things that makes Brandon so special is the fact that he is so positive. He is a motivational speaker. He just speaks great things into your life daily. So I'm going to give y'all his Facebook link and his YouTube link so you can go follow him. But Brandon, like, what made you this way? Like, how are you such a...
So I want to start out with thank you for having me on here. And I appreciate everything that you're doing by sharing sharing, people's stories, Jennifer. It means a lot. I was on your page the other day. And it was just really inspiring to read everything you had on there and what you're doing. So I just wanted to say thank you there. But what made me so positive is that I was so negative for so long. And, like from a little bit of my, backstory is that, grew up with a rough childhood and in and out of foster care and going to homes and stuff like that. It was just very shaky. It wasn't a good foundation at all. But, got out of the foster care homes, came back, and then around 18, got into some criminal activities that I shouldn't have been involved with. But God blessed me to still be here. I should not be here at all. That is another blessing. And then what happened is that, while during doing all this negativity on earth, that's why I'm so positive now, because I'm giving back. What happened is that I had gotten out of a relationship and things were going good in my life. And I said this last time. You can hear me good, right?
Yeah, you're good, honey.
Okay. I said this last time. It's that you got to be careful because everybody thinks like during the bad times, things are going to happen to them. Sometimes it's when things are going good. It's when life really hits you. And that's what happened. Everything was going good. I had my 2 cars. I had my license back. I mean, great job. And then all of a sudden I started dabbling with drugs. I got a big head. And that's what started my drug journey about 5 years ago. I remember it like it was yesterday. And life didn't just take everything away from me at once. It started taking, that game that you play and you start pulling like blocks?
Jenga.
Yeah. That's basically how my life was going. And I was pulling my own blocks, watching the destruction, watching it tip over. And I finally pulled my final block. And I was just going through this drug habit. During the drug habit, I was in court dates. I was losing. I lost, communication with my kids. Everything you could think of happened. And like I told you last time, I found myself, sitting at Dollar General just crying one day. Because I just knew how my life, it was such a mess, but I just didn't know how to change. And everybody's like, well, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but I seen the light. I was trying to get to that light, but I couldn't reach the light. And I know a lot of people find themselves lost. That's why I sent you that quote, because it found so much. I was lost. I kept crying every day. I just didn't want to be like this no more, but I just couldn't find my way. And you would think after all that, things would get better, right? No, it didn't get better. It didn't get better. It didn't get better. And so what happened is that, now during all this, I remind you, I tell people to do this, write in a journal. It's very important writing a journal, because I have journals right now, and during all this, I always kept hope. And I always say that hope is what we can hold on to in faith. They can never take that away from you. They can take away your freedom. There could be a health issue, but the hope of things getting better, I never lost. And that's why I tell people, hold on to it, whatever it takes. So I'm going through all this, and then, I'm maintaining, and then I get at this apartment, right? So while I get this apartment, I'm staying there, and the lights don't work. It's cold, it's wintertime, but it was a comfort zone for me. I didn't want to leave.
Wow.
And people will find comfort zones. They'll find it in relationships, they'll find it in jobs, and they'll stay there. And even though I know I had no food and the lights were off and there was no heat, no hot water, I stayed in that comfort zone.
Brandon, why do you think that was a comfort zone for you?
Because I could be left alone. I could shut my door. I didn't have to pay my rent. I could do my drugs there, and nobody could tell me anything. And it was easy. It was really easy, and it was convenient. And until you leave that comfort zone, you're never going to flourish like God wants you to flourish in life. I promise you that. But God pulled that plug on me, and he'll do that to you sometimes. He'll pull you out of there. He'll push you out of there. And I ended up moving up with my friend. Shout out to Robin, and she definitely watches. And just shout out to everybody that helped me through my journey, Lauren, Robin, my mom. I just wanted to say that real quick, because I have to give credit where it's due, because this wasn't just me. It was first God, and it was the people that God used to help me get through this. But I moved into her house, and you think things would get better, right? I'm telling you, sometimes things just don't get better. I'm telling you, Murphy's Law is knocking at your door, and it was there for me. So I was still in an addiction. I had moved out, and like as I tell people, you can move wherever you want to. I moved to a different city. Wherever you go, there you are. And there I was again with the same friends, hanging around the same places, doing the same things again. And so I get up there, and I'm on a drug addiction. I'm on probation, and this is going to lead to how things got better, right? So I'm doing all this. I'm on probation. I'm drinking. I'm doing more drugs than I ever had before, because now I don't have to pay rent where I'm at. And my life is just going downhill. But I'm going to remind you something, though. I was always motivating in some type of way. If I seen somebody going through something, I was sitting there telling them, we need to quit drugs. Now, it's funny that the person trying to motivate you is doing drugs, telling you to quit drugs. I had the right mindset, but I was going at it the wrong way. So you can still hear me, right?
Oh, yeah. You're doing awesome. I'm loving it.
So I end up moving up there, and I'm just getting myself into trouble. Into trouble. And I'm going to tell people this right now. If you're in a situation, put down the shovel and start to figure out a way out of the hole. Stop digging yourself a hole. Okay? Things can get better. You don't have to make it completely worse. So I end up getting there, and I am, okay, what happens finally, and what made the break for me is I go to rehab. I know there's a problem. Now, remind you, Jennifer, I didn't stop giving up. I always would be sober and clean for 2 weeks. I would mess up. So I had to fail my way to being into recovery, just like you'll fail your way to success. I was reading Think and Grow Rich, and they said success is one step past failure. That was good. I like, So all these failures, if someone's listening to them right now, whether it's they can't find a job, whatever the case may be, they can't lose weight, keep filling your way to success. Keep filling your way to the time where you actually lose that weight. You'll make it, I promise you. So what happened is that I finally went to rehab, and I went to rehab, Jennifer, and this is what changed my life. And I'm going to tell you right now, God will send somebody in your life to say something, and it might change your life or do something. You just got to have your ears open and your eyes open to see what he's doing, because he will send somebody. And I was sitting in rehab, and I went in there, and I had my nice clothes on, and I'm like, I don't want to be here no more, and I'm going to leave. And like, you got to go in there with the right mindset too. But I sat down, and for once, after 5 years, after a judge threatened to lose my freedom, probation was going to take my freedom, I had criminal charges. One lady said a couple words that changed my life. She said, it's time to be your own best advocate. I'm like, what? What do you mean? I said to myself, no. She said, it's time to be your own best advocate. For years, I was running around letting other people's opinion become my reality. What my ex-girlfriend thought, what the judge thought, what the probation officer thought. Everybody had an idea of what my life should be, but me. And I went to bed that night, and there was 2 guys in that room. And one guy said, he looked at me, he said, here's this, right? This was 2 people that I seen myself being. One guy went to Ivy League school, graduated, started a business, and he said cocaine still took everything from me. Look at me, I'm 54. The other guy named Calvin, shout out to Calvin, man. He was a truck driver, and he said, I am so done with upsetting my family at age 50. He said, he's like, I was just getting away with things. I would drive drunk. He said alcohol was taking my life. And I said, this is me. These are both me. And he said, they looked at me and they said, you need to choose what you want to do with your life. So my question is to people, what are you going to do with your life? What are you going to do with the opportunity that's in front of you? Because we have it tomorrow. Well, Jennifer, I walked out of that rehab. I grabbed actually this bag that I have right here. I grabbed you couldn't tell me anything. I said, I walked out. You think that I would stop, right? Nope. That night I went back to my drug dealer's house, got some drugs, went to the casino. But something happened that night that switched. And it's going to happen. Just make sure you're ready and you're prepared for that change. And I said, I just don't want to do this no more. So my girlfriend got on the phone with me. She said, we can move wherever you want to. At first I said, I'm going to move to California. I just didn't really care. I just wanted to get out there. But I moved to North Carolina and I came down here. But this time I didn't just change what I was, I didn't change my words. I changed what was in my heart. I changed what was in my mindset. New mindset, new year, new you. I changed here because what's funny is people think they can run away and God will bring them right back to the same exact situation they just left. And it might be twice as hard. I got down to North Carolina. Yes, you are who you are. You will attract who you are until you change this. Guess who I'm sitting in the car with? A guy with the same name as me that does cocaine, that drinks the same type of alcohol. And he offers it to me. Now, God's going to test you. He's going to test you to see if you're ready. And guess what I said to him? He looked at me. He said, do you want some? And I said, no. I said, I'm done. I said, I'm done with doing this. And I went to 2 AA meetings and I finally admitted that I was an alcoholic. See, Jennifer, I never admitted in my past that I was an alcoholic. And I know people right now, they don't want to admit something. And just admitting something, saying something, the truth shall set you free. I said the truth about myself. I haven't drank ever since that day. It's been a year, 2 months, and 5 days. I changed my mindset.
Congratulations, Brandon. That's unbelievable, honey. So my question for you would be, I discussed this with another girl who used to be a drug addict. Do you still every day say you're an alcoholic or you're a drug addict, or have you removed that label?
Okay, I just said this. I love you asked that question. I love the questions you asked. I just said this to a woman yesterday, and this is what I don't like people saying. They say, well, hello, my name's Brandon. I'm an addict. Get those words out your mouth, because what you speak, it comes into existence. If you hear me ever say this, I'm an ex-addict. I'm an ex-alcoholic, and that's something I don't do anymore. You got to be very careful what you speak into existence, because if you're still saying you're an addict and you say, well, hello, my name's Lisa, and they're not even knowing what they're saying, but your mind doesn't understand. They don't understand the difference right now. So say, okay, you're still an alcoholic. So no, I removed that label completely. I removed it completely. And that's another story for another time. I think AA needs to stop having people stand up and say, hello, I'm Jim, I'm an addict. Let's start saying I'm an ex-addict, because that's not what we no longer are anymore. We're something different.
Yeah, that's really powerful, and I completely agree. And I mean, despite what you do, I mean, you're successful. You're definitely have recovered, and you're doing amazing things with that. So no matter what your answer was, I would have loved you anyways. But I'm so glad that is true, because I read a children's book one time, and it's called like Punchinello or something, and it was about all these sticky notes that the world puts on you, and those labels that you carry. And clearly, you found your identity in Christ. You found your support through your family and good friends, new friends, a girlfriend. And those things have made you who you are today. So speak a little bit more into that for people who all they know is their little world, their circle, where everybody does drugs, everybody's toxic, everybody is not going anywhere, no one's growing. And here you are trying so hard to get out. What would you say to that person?
I know all too well. Whew, man, I know all too well about it, because I know what I would say to that person, and the person that didn't actually get the opportunity to leave like I did, is just hold on to that hope. Just keep hoping and keep trying. And that means if you do drugs today, you wake up tomorrow and you go a day without doing drugs tomorrow, you just take it one day at a time. That's it. And I just keep saying, if you keep failing and you keep trying, just keep that vision in your head of you being clean and sober. Keep speaking it into existence. The Bible says, let the weak say that I am strong. Well, if there's somebody out there and they're on drugs, say, thank you that I'm clean and sober. Thank you that I'm living a fulfilled life. Speak what you want into existence and keep that hope. Listen, the Bible says that you need to have a vision. Without a vision, the people perish. So you need to have that vision of where you're going to be when you're clean and sober. You need to have that vision of what you're going to look like when you're clean and sober, and have that hope that it's going to happen. That's what I'm going to tell people, because I understand when everything around you is falling apart and you're falling apart too. When life goes down, don't go with it. Don't continue to go down with it. And it's something called, what we have is it's tomorrow. And well, it's not a promise tomorrow, but we have a choice what we can do in a couple minutes. We can say, all right, I drank the bottle of alcohol this morning and I talked to a lot of people, but I'm not going to continue to do that. Even though the people in this house are doing it, I'm going to keep that hope, and I'm going to keep that vision that I'm going to be clean and sober. Remain on to hope, because once you lose hope, Jennifer, I really believe that's when people start taking their lives, because they feel hopeless.
Yeah, I love that, especially coming out of 2020. So many people lost hope. I mean, suicides went up, domestic violence went up, people lost their jobs, their incomes. I'm sure probably fell into addictions, just like you did for 5 years. So for people that are watching this, that are in the middle of adversity and you're trying to overcome, plug in with someone like Brandon. I mean, every day, this right here, this energy is what he pours into you. He's been there. He's lost everything. He's had to change his entire circle. He's recovered from, addictions, and he doesn't take on those labels. But I want to really point out, Brandon, that one thing you did do was take accountability and responsibility. So at one point he did say, I have a problem. I am an alcoholic. I am. But once he walked into that, he let that label fall off. So it is important that you don't just say, oh, I'm not an alcoholic, I'm not going to take that label, because there's no responsibility in that. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. And you know what, Jennifer, and you said it right, because a lot of people, they don't want to take responsibility for what's going on. And the first thing anybody knows, if they talk to me that are watching this, they know when we talk, the first thing I say to them is, please do not throw your problems on anybody else. They like to say, well, I'm drinking because of my husband or my wife. No, my friend, you have the two hands, you have the mind, you picked up the bottle. Let's start with you first. And that's so true. Take accountability, and that's in anything. That's just in life. Things will start working itself out,
Yeah, I love it. You cut out just for a second, but I'm so grateful we've made it this far.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, Brandon, I just love having you. Your energy is amazing. I think everybody needs to follow you. Like, seriously, you remind me of Eric Thomas. I know I gave you that shout out the other day. I mean,
thank you.
You could be making millions with the way that you speak into people's lives right now. So never forget that, and just go after your dreams completely, because you're going to save lives just through your words. I mean, God clearly speaks through you. So don't ever lose that. Okay. Okay. So one thing, guys, that I'm going to close this with is Brandon's quote. He even has shirts made, so you can go get you a shirt if you want one. But here we go. Let's say it together, Brandon. I'm helping you.
You're helping me. We're helping each other. We're all in this together.
So I love that. So keep shining, honey. Thank you for being a blessing and for being here today.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
Okay. Have a great day.
Have a great positive day too. Bye.
Okay. Bye, love.